So in the previous class, we have started learning WebDriver commands or WebDriver methods. And we have seen get methods, conditional commands or conditional methods, then browser commands, and then we have seen wait commands. And the last one is navigational commands. So there are 4 types of navigational commands are there. And these commands or the methods we can access through navigate method. So in the driver, we have something called navigate. This is a method which is available. And from this method, we can call another method called to. And there are a few more methods: navigate.to, navigate.back, and navigate.forward, and navigate.refresh. So these are the 4 methods are there. And again, this navigate method we can call from the driver. So the overall the command is driver.navigate.to, driver.navigate.back, driver.navigate.forward, driver.navigate.refresh. So the first we need to call the navigate method, and which will return a navigation object. From that we are calling another method called to, back, forward, and refresh. Okay, let's see what is the use of these commands. So sometimes if you want to navigate between multiple pages, and normally we use these methods. So let me show you some page here. Let's say I try to open this page. So as of now, this is the current page I have opened, right? So on the same browser, this is the first page I opened. On the same browser, suppose I want to open some other application. Let's say I have opened another application like this. Okay, as soon as you open another application, the previous application is gone. But still, if I want to go to that particular page, we can use these options, right? This is the arrow key. It will go back and it will show you the previous application. Okay, and again, if you want to get another page, you can say forward. So these two options we can use to move forward and backward. So normally through pages, we can do like this. And same thing we can do through commands: navigate.to back, navigate.to forward, navigate.to refer, navigate.refresh. So the third option is the refreshing. So this is basically reloading the page. So refresh command will try to reload the page. So these 3 operations we can do through automation, through these methods, navigational methods: to, back, forward, and a refresh. Back, forward, refresh. And navigate.to is a method which will take URL as a parameter, and this will open the URL on the browser. It is exactly same as a get command. So we use normally driver.get and URL that will open the application URL in the browser, right? Same thing. Navigate.to, and it will take URL as a parameter. This will also do the same. Okay, these are the 4 commands. So let me show you how we can use them. So let's go to Eclipse and create new package 28. So say navigational commands. Okay. So first time I'll try to launch some application. You can take any application. I'm taking some other application. This is demo.nopcommerce.com. So normally how to launch our web page, you can say driver.get, and before that we need to create a WebDriver instance, right? So WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. We need to import the package, and we can say driver.get, and this is the URL. So normally this is the command which we normally use, driver.get URL. The same thing we can do by using another command called driver.navigate.to, and here you can put the URL. So driver.navigate.to. So the functionality wise both are exactly the same, no difference, but internally the implementation is different. Get is a implementation is different. Navigate.to implementation is different. So I'll tell you what is the difference between these two commands. Driver.get and the URL, or driver.navigate.to or URL. So this will also do the same thing. Whatever get command is doing, this navigate.to command also doing the same thing. So let me run this. Yeah, now you can see the same URL is got opened on the browser. Okay, so now let us try to understand the difference between these two. So most of the very popular interview question also, they ask what is the difference between get and navigate.to. So functionality wise, there is no difference. Okay, whatever this get command is doing, so navigate.to method also doing the same thing, but there are few differences are there between these two methods. Okay, so let's try to understand the what are the differences between get and navigate.to method. Just a second. Yeah. So let's try to understand this. So normally when I use get method, okay, so we'll pass the URL in the string format, right? We are passing the URL in the string format, and internally they have written some piece of code. By taking the string URL, they have written some logic, and this will actually open this URL on the browser. So this is a get method implementation. It will take only URL in the string format. It is allows only in string format. URL we can pass only in the string format. Whereas in navigate.to method, here also we are passing string format, right? So the navigate.to method, how it is got implemented is like this. Navigate.to method. Actually, the to is actual method, navigate is another method, okay? Inside this to method also, internally it is calling get method only. Internally it is calling get method, it will take URL as a parameter. And if you look at these two implementations, so when I call get method directly, we pass the string as a parameter. Okay, that will launch the browser and open this URL. When you call navigate.to method, this is also internally calling get method, because a method can call another method, right? A method can call another method. So when you call to method internally, this is also calling same get method only. So that means when I call get method or when you call navigate.to, both are exactly the same, because even navigate.to method also internally calling same method, get method only. So functionality is exactly same. But what is the difference is, in the get method, we can just pass only string parameter. That URL we have to pass only string parameter. Whereas in a navigate.to method, we can pass this URL in the form of string, and we can also pass the URL in the form of URL object. In the form of URL object. So what does that mean? So let me show you. So two formats are allowed. Navigate.to method, string format is allowed. In URL format also allowed. So let me show you the difference. So we already know driver.get. Yeah, URL object, I'll tell you that. So driver.get, here we pass the URL only in the string format. Accepts URL only in the string format. Only in string format. In get method, URL will be accepted only in the string format. But here, navigate.to method accepts the URL in the string format. This is the one thing. The other thing is, it is also accept the URL in the URL format, means URL object format. For example, there is a predefined class URL. For that, I can create or object my URL equal to new URL of. Here, I can pass this URL. Okay. And this is basically a URL object. So this URL we have to import from java.net package. And this will throw some exception, just add this. Right. Now, if I look at this particular statement, URL, my URL equal to new URL. So what I have done is I've just created an object of URL class. And in the constructor, I'm passing the URL. Now, this URL is in the format of URL object. Okay, now the URL is not in string format. We are passing the string format. Again, it becomes an object, URL type of object. Now, this object you can pass in the driver.navigate, driver.navigate.to navigate.to, and here you can pass my URL. This is a way we can do it. So when I use navigate.to method, we can pass URL directly as a string, or we can pass this URL as an object. We can pass an URL as an object. So both the formats are accepted in navigate.to method. Whereas in get method, URL will be accepted only in the string format. So this is a major difference between get and navigate.to. But functionality wise, there is no difference. So even if you execute this, it will do the same thing. I'm passing URL as a URL object. So when you run this, it will also launch the application on the browser. It do the same thing. Okay. So driver.get method accept URL only in the string format, whereas navigate.to method accept URL in both the formats, in string format and in URL object format. Remember this. So driver.get method accepts URL in string format only, whereas driver.navigate.to accepts URL in the string format and URL object format. Okay. So sometimes development will use this kind of a concept. They pass the URL in the object format. So that's the reason they have already created, because actually this command is optionally created by Selenium. This is not needed actually. Okay, because we already have driver.get method. Most of the times we pass URL in the string format only. Okay, because we never convert that into again URL object and we never pass it. That's not a use case. Most of the times we never do it. But because they already provided some navigational commands related to the browser, so that's the reason this command additionally provided to us to provide the URL to the application. So in case if you URL in the URL format or in object format, then you can pass. So sometimes what happens is in the real-time use case, let's say you have some input. URL is an URL object format. Let's say this object is captured from somewhere else. Now by using this object, I want to launch my application. So let's say you got a URL object from application or somewhere else in the form of URL object. Now by using this object, I want to launch my web page. So then you can go with this approach, navigate.to, and you can pass this URL in the form of object, but we won't create this object normally. So this object come from some different type of application or some different type of process. In that scenario, we can use navigate.to of object. But normally, whenever you want to launch your application through URL, you can use this one by passing URL in the string format. Most 99% of the times we use string format. Okay, we never use any object, but this is an indirect way. So if you get the URL object from different application or some third-party application, then normally what happens is, let's say you already open the URL in the browser. URL is already open. So if you want to capture the URL, that will be written in a URL object type. So there are certain methods are there. So those methods will return the URL only in the object type. So by using that object, if you want to launch your application, this method will be useful. But that is again very, very, very rare case. Okay, because I have never seen that kind of scenario anywhere. Most of the times we use only string URL. Okay, so now we understood the difference between get accepts URL only in the string format, whereas navigate.to method accepts URL in the string format as well as URL format. So how we can pass URL in the URL object type? I already shown you here. So first we need to create a URL type of object where we have to pass URL. Then this object we have to pass URL. Okay, this is a way. Okay, I told you one more thing. So navigate.to method also internally calling the get method only, right? Navigate.to method is also internally calling get method only. It is not having any specific implementation. Navigate.to method also internally calling get method. In that case, how the get method is accept URL in the URL object, because we are passing URL object here, right? But get method accept only string. But if navigate.to method is internally calling get method should accept object, URL object, right? But it doesn't have accept. But how come it will work? How it is validate? So let us see how it is going to validate. So what I said in the first point is navigate.to method. This is very important in interview perspective. Listen carefully. So navigate.to method internally calling again get method only. Suppose if we are passing here a string URL, the same URL it will pass, same URL it will pass. So get method implementation will be called. So if it is a string format, no problem. If you're passing a string, even in navigate.to method, get method accept a string format, so it will perform well. But if you pass URL in object format, okay, if you pass this URL in the object format, but internally, how come the get method take this object and perform the operation? So the thing is, before calling this get method, in the navigate.to method, after getting this URL, it can be string format or object format, whichever format it is. First, it will check whether this URL is in string format or this URL in the object format. It will cross check because it will do some kind of a simple validation before calling get method. So once you get URL, whether it is string format or object format, if it is a string format, then directly it will call get method. If it is an object format, then it will convert the object into string format. It will convert the object into string format and then it will pass into get method. So that's how the navigate.to method works. So as soon as you pass some URL, the navigate.to method, first it will cross check whether it is a string format or object format. If it is a string format, it will directly pass it to the get method. If it is an object format, then it will convert into string format and then it will pass it to the get method. Ultimately, get method only executed internally in the navigate.to method. Okay, so this is how we need to understand this. So ultimately, both are doing the same job. No, there is no much difference. Functional device, there is no difference. Both are doing the same job, but parameters wise, there is a difference. Both will accept a string format of URL, but in navigate.to method, additionally, we can pass URL in the URL format. So is this clear to everyone? So very, very important entry question. And also a lot of people cannot answer this because they're having some confusion on this. And even if you search in internet, many people will say both are exactly the same. And some people will say both are totally different. So they're not totally different actually. Why? Because the navigate.to method internally calling the same get method, same implementation. Then how can they different? No, right? If they're executing the same code, there is no difference. Only the parameter wise driver.to method allow us to pass URL object. That is the only difference. Otherwise, both are same. Okay. So now let us move on to the next one. Yes, get method is a different implementation that is called from the navigate.to method. In the last class, yes, we already learned we can call one method. Let's say you have some method called M1 implemented. Now, can we call this M1 method from M2? Let's say M1 method, when you call like this, yes, this M2 method will execute this. So one method will call another method. Similar way, driver.to method, navigate.to method, internally calling get method. So get is having another implementation. Get method is different. So when I call driver.get, this get method directly called. When I say driver.navigate.to, then first two method will be called and internally get method is invoked. So that's how they have done implementation. Okay. Now let us see how we can use other commands. So now I have opened a demo application like this. Let me comment this. Okay, let's use this. Okay, driver.navigate.to demo.nvpcommerce.com. So we never use object type of URL first thing, okay? Because this is just additionally something is got provided, but normally in automation, we never use URL type of object, but development point of view, they use it. They create all the URLs in the URL format. URL is a class which is not from Selenium actually. If you look at here, this URL is from java.net package. This is from Java itself, not related to Selenium. It is not related to Selenium. It is a Java itself. So normally the development team developers will use this kind of a classes and objects to work with the URLs. But automation point of view, we never do it. We don't convert this into URL, or we never do it. Directly we can pass string URL. But this is alternative. Okay, if you want to still pass URL as an object format, yes, you can still pass it. All right, so now I have opened one application here. Immediately what I will do is I say driver.navigate.to. I'll try to open another application. Let's say, yeah, I'll open this application. So now what will happen when I run these two commands? You can use get method also, no problem. So when I use these two commands, then what happens? Two URLs I'm launching. So first it will open the NVOP commerce application on the same browser. It will open another application. So when I execute this, see the old application will disappear. If I look at this, see first time NVOP commerce is open, second time open cart application is open, orange HRM. Now again, if you go back to the previous application, right? If you want to go back to the previous application, normally how we will do manually, we click on this arrow mark, right? Same thing we can do through automation. Suppose I want to go to the NVOP commerce. Simply what you can do is you can say driver.navigate.back. Driver.navigate back. So after going back, let us try to find the URL of application. How to capture the URL of application? How to capture? What is the command? How to capture the URL of application? Yes, driver dot get a current URL. Okay, so after going back, I'm getting the current URL. So which URL expecting here? The first one, NVOP commerce URL you are expecting. And after that, again, I want to move forward to orange HRM. Then I can say driver dot navigate dot forward. And here I can print again another URL, driver dot get the current URL. So back, forward. So let's try to do it. Initially, I'm opening the two URLs, and then I'm navigating back and forward. So XLNS. Okay, so now open orange HRM. Now you can see forward and backward it is navigated. Now you can see this is the URL which is returned by this command initially, and this is the URL which is written by the next command. Okay, so this is a way we can simply navigate forward and backward using these commands. But what is a prerequisite to use this command is first we need to open the URLs manually like this. So by using get command or navigate.to method, any method you can use. First we need to launch two applications, and then you can go back and forward. Okay, now if you want to reload the application, sometimes as soon as you're launching the page, we do refreshment here, right? We can do refresh like this. So if you want to refresh the page, you have another command, driver dot navigate dot refresh. Navigate dot refresh. So this command will refresh the page or reload the page. Okay, it is just to refresh the web page. So very basic commands, simple commands. Driver.to, driver navigate.back, navigate.forward, refresh. So if you look at these commands, first of all, we are calling the navigate method. So this navigate method return type is what? Navigation type of object. So from this navigation class, we are calling the other methods, refresh, forward, back. To these methods are available in the navigation class. Okay, this method will return the navigation object. Okay, so remember this very basic commands. Just if you want to move forward, backward, you no need to provide URL multiple times. Okay, so once you provided URLs, then you can navigate back and forward. Every time you no need to launch applications. Every time you no need to forward and backward. Once you open these two applications, by using back, forward, you can go forward and backward. So these are all navigational commands, 4 commands. And driver.get driver.navigate.to is an alternative method. So driver.get method accepts string format. Navigate.to method accepts string as well as URL object format. Okay. So now, so refresh is just reloading the page. So normally, if you want to refresh the page, we can use this option, right? This is the button, reload this page. You can see there are three buttons are there in the top corner: backward, forward, and reload. For these three operations, three methods are provided. These are the three methods are provided. For three different operations, three methods are provided. That's it, equivalent methods. So instead of doing this manually like this, right? So we use those methods, navigational methods. All right. So now let's move on to the next topic. In the last class, we learned about get handle, uh, get window handle, get window handles. Do you guys remember those two methods? Get window handle, get window handles. Get window handle, get window handles. Right. So we'll discuss more about this method, actual use case, where we use get window handle. So we already know get window handle returns the ID of current browser window, whereas get window handles returns the IDs of multiple browser windows. So can we use refresh command for single URL? Yeah, whenever you want, you can refresh the page. Yeah, single URL also fine. Okay, the refresh command you can also use with single browser, no problem. So how often do you open multiple URLs on the same window? Suppose if you want to perform parallel operations, right? Suppose I have opened one application, okay, and I'll do something, and that I will go to another application. I have done something, again, I can go back. For example, let's say, even if you don't have it two URLs, still you can use these commands, okay? Even if you don't have it two URLs, still you can use these commands. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you already opened this application. Let's say this is the application I opened. There's a single URL. I'm not using any other application, single URL. Okay, in this, I click on something. Let's say I click on some electronics. So it is navigated to another page. Now again, if you go back to the previous page, how we can go back? Simply navigate.to back. So that will go to previous page. So with single URL also, you can apply all these methods. Single URL. Suppose I click on this MacBook. Now I are enter in another page. Now I want to go back. So then you can use backward. And again, I want to move forward. MacBook page. Then you can do forward. Okay. So with single application also, you can work with the navigational methods. So both the URLs are not mandatory. One single URL is also fine. Okay. So I hope everybody is clear on this. Now move on to the next one. Get window handle, get window handles. We already know get window handle command will return ID of the single browser window. Get window handles returns the IDs of multiple browser windows, right? But where we will use this actually? What is the use of this ID? Where we will use that ID or where we will use multiple IDs? So let us see with an example. And also we will learn how to switch between multiple browser windows. Okay. So by using that ID, we can switch to one browser window to another browser window. So I already told you one scenario in the last classes. Let us say I have two browser windows. Let's say this is one browser window and I have another browser window. When I click on something, it is open another browser window. Two open browser windows are there. But driver is still focused on the first browser window. But I want to perform some activity on the second browser window. We cannot directly go there. We need to switch actually. We have to use something called switching commands. So by using switching commands, we can go to the next page and then we can perform the operation. Again, if you want to go back to the previous page, again, we have to switch the previous page, then we can perform the actions. So the get window handle, get window handles, both will return IDs, right? And these IDs we have to use along with the switching commands to switch between multiple pages. So why we need to switch? Because our driver is focused only on the one browser window at a time. It cannot focus on multiple browser windows. Okay, so let's see the use case, how exactly we use in our automation. Get window handles, get window handle. So let's create another example. I'll show you multiple examples and we'll see the use case. Handle browser windows. Okay, so I'm writing some piece of code here. Control Shift to O. I put some implicit wait also as soon as I launch my driver. This is called implicit. Make a habit of keeping wait statements from now onwards. Whatever new script you are creating, just try to put implicit wait. And this is the URL of application I'm opening and then maximizing this window. Right. So if you look at this application, right? So this is the URL. In this, I want to click on this link. Let me open fresh page. Okay, so as soon as you launch my web page, I try to click on this link. When I click on this link, it will open another browser window. So now currently I have two browser windows. So this is my parent window. This is my child window, right? So let us try to open another browser window and capture the IDs of both the browser window. By using those IDs, we can switch to one browser window to another browser window. Okay. So for that, what I've done is I just created the driver and then maximize the page. Now I want to click on the link. Inspect this element. So this is okay. So this is a link here. I'm saying driver dot find element by dot XPath. You can also use link text, no problem. And I'm just performing click action. So once you perform click action, then it will open another browser window. So once it is open another browser window, now I want to capture IDs of both the browser windows, parent and child. We can let's call it as a parent. This is called as a child. So I want to capture the IDs of both the browser windows. So how we can do it? Driver dot get window handles. So this will return IDs in the set format, set collection. So I'm storing them in a variable. I say window IDs, window IDs. And what is the type of this variable? It should be set of string. So we already seen in the last class. So we captured multiple browser windows, IDs, and storing them in a variable. Now this variable contains a parent window ID and also child window ID. Both are having. So now what I should do is by taking the window ID, I can switch to the particular browser window. Okay. So for example, I want to capture the ID of the parent window. I want to capture the ID of the child window, but both are available in the set collection. How can we get it individually? Individual IDs. From the set collection, how can we extract individual IDs? Parent window ID, child window ID. Currently, which is having both the two, right? One option is there looping statement. By using looping statement, you can iterate it. The other option is what? We can convert this into list, then we can extract, right? So let's say the first approach one. Because if you have just two IDs, unnecessarily loop is wasted, right? So if you have a more number of IDs, let's say 5, 10 IDs, then loop will be preferred most of the times. But if you have just two IDs, better to convert into list collection. Okay, approach one. What I'll do is I will convert this set collection into list collection. We already seen this concept in Java sessions. We can convert a set into list, right? Array list. How we can convert? We can create an array list variable or a list variable. So list of a string, okay? Window list equal to new array list of window IDs. Right, now import this array list. Also import this list. So what this statement will do, this statement will convert the set collection into list collection, convert it. So once you convert it into the list collection, can we extract IDs individually? Yes. How can we extract? Window list dot get is a method. Get. So when I say get of 0, which ID it will return? Parent browser ID, the first ID. So that I'm going to store in a variable. So I can create one variable called string parent ID. Similarly, how to extract the second? Window list dot get of 1. So this will return child ID. Okay, now I know parent ID and child ID. So what we have done in, first we converted the set collection into list collection. Then we have extracted a parent ID, child ID in two different variables. Now I have a parent ID. I also have a child ID. Okay, now by using these IDs, I can switch to one browser window to another browser window. Suppose as soon as you launch your web page, why set should be connected to list? Can anyone answer this question? Why we have converted set into list collection? What is the necessity? Can anyone answer this question? We already covered this in the last sessions. Why we have converted set into list collection? Yes. So if you have in set collection, we cannot extract individual items because we don't have a get method in set collection. Okay, if you have a multiple items in this window IDs, if you want to extract one by one individually, I cannot extract or I cannot access it because set collection don't have a get method to access individual items. So that is the reason we converted the set into list collection so that in the list collection we can extract individual items. By using get method, I can extract 0 item and first item and so on. But in the set collection, it will not follow indexing concept first of all. So that's the reason we don't have a get method. We cannot extract a specific item from the set collection because it will not follow index. So that is the reason we converted the set collection into list collection type. And then we have extracted parent ID, child ID differently. Okay. Now, what is the use of these IDs now? By using this parent ID, child ID, I can easily switch to one page to another page. So as soon as you launch this particular page, our driver is focused on the first browser window. Okay. So as soon as we launch the application, our driver is focused on the parent window. Even if you open the child window, still our driver is focused on the parent window. Our driver is focused on the parent window. But how we will know that? Let us see. I'm trying to print driver dot, you can say title I'm getting. What driver dot title, get title I'm using. See, I already opened this application. Then I click on that link. That is open another browser window, which is child window. Okay, now I'm getting the title. So if you're getting the title, if it is written the parent window title or child window title, which one it will return? Forget about these things. Okay, just I open this application and then click on the link. It will open another link, right? So after, even though if it is open another browser window, when I'm getting the title, it will return the parent browser window title. Why? Because driver is still focused on the parent window only, right? So if you execute it, it will still return the parent window title. It will not return the title of the child window. Why? Because our driver is still focused on the parent window. See, it is open child window. Now I have a parent window, child window. But if you look at the title, it is still returning the parent window title. Okay. So now I want to switch to the child window. I want to switch to the child window. Then I want to extract the title of the child window. Then how we can do this? So here I will try to switch to child window. How to switch? Driver dot. There is a method called switch to. Driver dot switch to dot driver.switch to dot window. In this, we have to pass ID. Whichever browser window you want to switch, you need to pass ID of that particular browser window. Now I'm passing the child ID here. Okay, after switching, then I'm executing this command driver.get title. Now observe. So the switching command will able to switch to child browser window, and after that it will get the title from the child browser window. Now this is my parent browser window, right? Now it is open another child browser window, parent and child. Now if I look at the title, you will get the title of the second browser window. Previously we got only Orange HRM. That's the parent browser window title. Now we got the title from the child browser window. Okay. Now we switch to the child browser and we got the title of the child browser window. Again, I want to go back to my parent window. Again, I want to switch to the parent window. Then how can we do it? Switch to parent window. Again, I want to switch back to the parent window. Simply what you can do, driver dot switch to dot window. And here the window command will take the browser ID. So here we need to pass parent ID. Okay, now again, if you capture the title, this will give the title of the parent browser window. So by using switching command, we can switch to one browser window to another browser window. Here the navigation commands won't work, okay, because navigational command is only for navigating between the multiple pages, forward and backward, but it is not for switching. Our drivers still switch on the parent browser. Okay, so if I look at here, now you got the title for the parent child browser window, and this will give the parent browser. This is the title of the parent browser window. Okay. So what is the use of capturing window IDs? So now you guys are understood why we need to capture IDs of browser windows. This is the use case. If you capture the IDs of browser windows, we can easily switch from one browser window to another browser window. Otherwise, we cannot perform any other operations. Suppose you open this parent window and you navigated to the child window. Now I want to do some validations here. I want to click on some button, or I want to uh, find something on this page, or I want to do some automation related validations here. So how it is possible? Directly it is not possible. We need to switch to the browser window, then it is possible. So like that, we can use a switching command. So what is the command which we have used is driver dot switch to driver object dot switch to dot window, and here we have to pass window ID. So this is the overall command. So get window handles whatever IDs we are getting. By using those IDs, we can switch to multiple browser windows. That is a use case. Okay, this is one approach. Let's say I have only two browser windows, parent and child. So we can convert that into list collection. We have extracted parent ID, child ID, and then whichever browser window you want to switch, you can easily switch it. But sometimes if we have a more number of browser windows, let's say I have a 5, 10 browser windows are already open, then how we can switch? So instead of getting all IDs into multiple variables, I can simply use a looping statement. Okay, let me comment this. This is an approach one. This approach is recommended only if you have a 2 browser or 3 browser windows. But if you have a many number of browser windows, then it is not recommended to convert into array list. Okay, we need to use a looping statement. Approach 2. So we already collected window IDs, both the window IDs, right? Let's write a looping statement now. For by using looping statement, we can do it, right? Window IDs I'm capturing into a variable called string, and this is enhanced for loop. String uh, window ID. I'm taking one variable. So from window IDs, I'm getting each and every window ID in this variable. So now by using this variable window ID, I can switch to whichever browser window I want. So let's see, by using this window ID, what I can do is I can switch say driver dot switch to dot window, and you can pass window ID. So this is got switched, but on which browser window it is got switched? Do we know that? Simply we're getting IDs one by one. Once you're getting the ID, right? And we are using that ID in this window. But do we know exactly which browser window it is switched by using this statement? We don't know, right? But in the previously, we have only two browser windows, parent and child we have considered. But in this context, there are multiple window IDs. I got one ID and I switched to it. But how we will know whether which browser window it is got switched? We don't know that, right? So what we need to do is we use something called dot get title. We can use following command called get title. So whatever browser window it is switched, from that browser window, we are extracting the title. We are extracting the title that I'm going to store in a title. So by seeing the title, we will know exactly which browser window it is got switched, right? So now what I will do is I'll put one condition. If this title dot equals, okay, suppose if this title is orange HRM, okay, what is the type of browser window? Is the parent or child? Okay, we don't know whether it's parent or child. Simply I can print URL. So driver dot get current URL like this. Okay, so we are switching to the browser window and getting the title. And if the title equal to this one, we are just printing the URL. Okay, now just observe how it is going to switch. Now it is switching to all browser windows one by one. Okay, now I can just observe. All right, what I'm saying here is I just captured the title. If the title is equals to Orange HRM, then only it is getting the title. Orange HRM is what? It is a parent browser window title. So we are getting the title URL for the parent browser window. Okay, suppose if you put something else here, or else what you can do is I can just remove the if condition. Okay, so I can say if condition I removed. So I'm getting the title. Okay, and this is optional actually. So title is not needed. It is already switched. I'm not using the title as part of validation. If you want to validate, you can just use this. You can say if I don't use if condition, it will print URLs for parent and child, both the windows. Let's say if title dot equals, right? So here I'll say so if you inspect this page, you can see the title in the header tag. This is the title. The title is equal to Orange HRM, and this is the driver.get current URL I'm getting if condition. Else, basically we can just do validation based on the title. If the title is equal to Orange HRM, then do some validation here. You can put any other validations here. Some validation on the parent window. Okay, so based on the title, we are deciding. Else is not required. Suppose you already have multiple browser windows. I'm capturing the title. And suppose if you want to perform any operation on the parent browser window, then title dot equals to parent window, then do the operations on parent window. Suppose if you want to do operations on the child window, then you can change the title here. If the title is equal to the title of child window, then do the operations on the child window. So it will capture the titles of all browser windows one by one in every iteration. But here what we are doing, based on the title, we are checking on which browser window, and based on the title, we are performing the action. So basically what exactly we are doing is we are applied some logic because we don't know exactly whether it's parent window or child window, right? Let us say I have 1, 2, 3. Let's say this is X and this is Y, this is Z. Let's say 3 browser windows. Currently our driver is here and we got IDs of X, Y and Z. Now I want to perform some action on the third browser window here. Okay. So in the for loop, what exactly we are doing? We are capturing the titles of, first we are switching into the browser window. First, let's take a first window ID, getting the title, some X. Now second time, switch to the second Y, getting the title called Y. Next round, getting the title called Z. So in the if condition, what exactly we are doing? Suppose if we want to perform some activity on Z. So then if condition, if the title equal to Z, okay, then perform the action. So rest of the two will be ignored because the title we are matching with the third web page, third browser window. So that's the reason. Based on the condition, we can filter. So on whichever browser window we want to perform operations, we can specify the title of that particular browser window. We can specify the title of that particular browser window. Suppose if you want to perform action on the child browser window, and here you can specify the title of the child browser window. Like that, we can switch. Okay, so you understood this problem, everyone? So when I working with the looping statement, we can also perform actions on other browser windows, but we need to filter. Let's say you have 10 browser windows. I want to do some action specific browser window. Then what we need to switch to it and get the title. And if the title is so and so, and then do the action. If it is not matching, then it will get another window ID, another title. Again, it will match. Even if it is not matching, then it will get another title. So it will navigate through all browser windows. Wherever it is matching, there it will start doing the operations. So this is the second approach. If you have a multiple browser windows, then you can go with this approach. If you have only two browser windows, then go with the conversion approach, like convert to set to the array list. And by using get method, you can extract. Okay. So these are the two methods are there. So is it clear so far, everyone? Yes, if you want to do, you can do also through iterator. But in iterator, it will just give only IDs one by one. It will iterate. You can try that. Okay. So yeah, by using iterator also, we can do this. You guys can try that. Okay. So now I will, based on this example, I will ask you one thing. You should be able to answer this. In the last class, I told you one scenario. We will try to see that scenario once again. We have learned browser commands, right? Close and quit. Let's say I have multiple browser windows like this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if I use close command, what happens? Wherever the driver is focused, only that particular browser window will be closed. Single browser window will be closed. Single browser window will be closed. When I use quit command, all browser windows will be closed. But now my requirement is I want to close specific browser window. Let's say I want to close only 3, or I want to close only 5, or I want to close 2 and 4, or I want to close 3 and 5. Based upon our choice, I want to close specific browser window. Okay, so then how we can achieve this? So this is a very, very important use case. During interview, people will ask you this. Yes, same logic we need to apply. So whatever logic here we have implemented, same thing. Let me show you this. Creating new class. Closing specific browser window. Taking main method and say finish. Okay, so now I just copy the same code. Okay, this is the code. Okay, so I launched my application, maximized it, click on the link. So this will open another browser window, and then I captured both the window IDs. All right, now I have two browser windows. As soon as you have done this, two browser windows are open. Now I want to close whichever browser window I want to close it. Okay, simply what you can do by using looping statement, we can do it. So take this window IDs into a variable. Let's say win ID. It is a string variable. Why it is string? Because all window IDs are in the string format. Okay, so now if you try to write like this, driver dot switch to dot window ID and dot get a title. Okay, I'm storing the title in a variable called title. Then I'm printing the title here. So what this will do actually, so it will keep reading each and every ID, then switch to that particular browser window and then get the title, right? If I have 10 browser windows, it will print 10 browser window IDs and titles, not IDs, because we already captured the IDs. We are reading each and every ID into this variable. And by using this ID, we are switching into the particular browser window and getting the title. So you can have n number of browser windows. So this will capture the titles of all the browser windows and it will print, right? So let me show you. And by using the title, we put one condition. Whichever browser window you want to close, you will put one condition. Now you can see there are two tabs are opened here. First one and second one. Two browser windows are opened. And if you look at here, you got a two titles. Okay. Now my requirement is I want to close specific browser window. I want to close my parent window, for example, or currently, okay, parent window I want to close. Then what I can do, just put one if condition. If title dot equals this orange HRM. Okay, then if this condition is matched, we have to close that browser window. So I can say driver dot close. Driver dot close. So this will close based on the condition. We are closing specific browser window. So now the child is still alive. So we don't need any break actually. Yeah, if you want to put break, no problem, you can put. But if we have to close multiple browser windows, then it will be problem. If you put break, I will tell you. So you can see the child browser window still open, but parent browser window is already closed. Okay, suppose if you want to close child browser window, then I can put this title. Now this time it will close only child browser window. So now you can see parent and child. Child browser window should close. Yes. Child window is got closed and parent window still open. So based on the condition, we can close it. So if you are closing only one browser window, then you can put a break command. No problem in this. Because I don't need to get any other window IDs. Because as soon as you get a browser window matched, just immediately close it and exit from the for loop. No need to get other IDs. But if you want to close multiple browser windows, let's say I have 5 browser windows, I want to close only 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you should not put a break command. And here you can put multiple conditions. Title dot equals this one or title dot equals whichever browser windows you want to close, you can specify the titles of those browser window, or you can say some other title. Right. So now this will close two browser windows which are matching with this title and also this one, because we put or operator. Or means what? Either this one or this one. So whatever browser windows are having these two titles, only those browser windows will be closed. Or this one or this one. Here we cannot use break, okay? Because if we put break, as soon as the first browser window is got matched, it will close it, immediately it will break the for loop. But the second one, it will not consider. So that is the reason here break is not applied. Okay. So this is how we can close specific browser window based on the condition. Okay. So based on the condition, we can close specific browser window. Whichever browser windows you open, doesn't matter. You can close specific browser window by putting the condition. So this is how get window handles and get window handles. Most important topic. Just do one round of practice and we'll. So how do we know the title of it? Yeah. Before that, you know the title actually. Suppose if you want to close whichever browser window you want, you can capture the title just by right clicking and inspecting the page, and the header part, you can see the title actually. In the header, you can see the title tag. In that, you can find the title. So because whenever you want to close your browser window, you have a plan, right? So you need to capture the title from this browser window and put the title in the condition. So like that, you can close whichever browser window you want, because the title must be there. Otherwise, we cannot know which browser window you want to close. Because if you want to close something, you have to know something about it, right? You have a 5 browser windows. Fifth one you want to close, then you have to know the title of the fifth one. Or if you want to close 1, 2, 3, first 3 browser windows, then you have to know the titles of 1, 2, 3, like that. And you can get the titles from the DOM itself. From the HTML of the page, you can get the titles. So by using window ID, you don't know, right, which browser window it is. That's the reason we are getting the title here. So you're passing window ID, that's fine. It will switch to the particular browser window. But do you know exactly by using window ID, do you know which browser window it is belongs to? No, right? Suppose I have captured window IDs here. Let us say here I capture both the window IDs. So by seeing the window ID, can we know which browser window that ID is belongs to? Do we know exactly? No. By window ID, we cannot know that. And moreover, the window ID is dynamic. Every time it will generate the new window ID. So by using window ID, we don't know which browser window it is pointing. So that is the reason we are switching to the particular browser window and then getting the title. So by using title, by knowing title, we will know which browser window it is pointing, right? So that's the reason we are getting the title here. If we don't have a title, we won't know, we will not know which browser window it is pointing. So that's the reason additionally we added get title after switching to the particular browser window, capturing the title, and based on the title, we are closing the particular web page. So this is how we need to do it. Okay. So this is how we need to switch between multiple browser windows. There are 3 kinds of switching commands are there. We can switch to multiple browser windows. We can switch to alerts. We can switch to frames. So alerts and frames we will discuss in the next sessions. So how to find the title from the URL? So title from the URL is not directly possible. Either you can capture the URL of the web page or you can capture the title of the web page. Suppose here we are calling get title, right? Instead of get title, you can capture the URL also. Okay, suppose I'm trying to capture the URL. You can put condition on whichever way you want. So here you can call get current URL. So this will return the URL of the page. Okay, in that case, you can put the condition as on URL. If the URL is so and so, then close it. So this is possible. But from the URL, we cannot get the title until unless you launch this URL on the browser. If you launch this URL on the browser, then you can get the title. But directly from the URL, you cannot get the title because both are 2 different commands we can access from the driver. Okay. So this condition should be based on the URL or it can be based on the title. So whichever way you want, you can use it. But from the URL, you cannot directly get the title until unless you launch the page. Suppose here you launch your URL here. So then by using driver.get current URL or get title, you can get the title. Yes. Title is also visible on the window tab. Yes. You can see here, this is the title. On the top tab, the name is showing here. You can see that. Can you see the tooltip? Human Resources Management Software, Orange HRM. Can you see that? That's called title actually. And here, Orange HRM, that is a title. So on the tab itself, the title also shown. Suppose if you're not able to see here, you can inspect the page and go to the header, and here you can see the title tag directly. You can use it. Okay. So that's all for today's session. I'll stop here. I'm still not feeling well. I'm just stop here for today's session and tomorrow we will continue. And I will give you one assignment on today's session. You guys can try this. Okay, so that assignment is so just go to this page. So what you need to do is in this page, you can see something called a search box. So here you can see the tabs, right? So here you need to provide some search string. It can be anything. Let's say I'm providing something called Selenium. Okay, then click on the search button. Then some links are displayed. So what you need to do is, first step, provide some string and search for it. Then count a number of links. So as soon as you have searched, some links are displayed, right? You need to capture these links and find how many links are displayed here. So how many links are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Totally 6 links are, including this more, 6 links are displayed. So you need to count how many links are there. The next thing is, click on each link using for loop. So you need to capture each and every link from the web page from this link. You need to read each and every link text, capture each and every link text, and perform click action on it. If I click on this, observe. You need to use a for loop here. As soon as you click on the link, it is opening another tabs. Can you see it? It is opening multiple tabs. So how many links are displayed here? You need to click on each and every link that opens multiple tabs. That's the next step. And after that, get window IDs for every browser window and then close specific browser window. So capture the IDs of every browser window by using get window handles, and then capture the titles and close whichever browser window you want to close. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 browser windows are open, and you can close whichever browser window you want based on the title. So this is assignment for today. You guys can try. I will provide the solution also. I will upload the solution for this, but you guys can do first. Okay. And then look at the solution for this. So this is again depend on the today's topic. Fine. So try to do this and tomorrow we will continue.